Well, more now on Russia's decision to lift the ban on selling its S-300 anti-missile rocket system to Iran. Now, it says that the system is purely for defensive use, but America and Israel have expressed concern about the deal. National security analyst Arash Amaresh joins us live from Los Angeles. Lovely to see you there, Arash. First off, why now? Why do you think Russia's doing it now?
That's a very good question, and I've heard and seen a range of explanations for it. The sort of most dominant theory out there is that sanctions are hurting, and this is Putin's way of pressuring the United States and US's European allies by saying, look, you're going against us, we're going to arm the Iranians with this advanced air defense missile system that Iran can use to safeguard its nuclear facilities, its military facilities, and so on and so forth. This is not a new deal. The deal was signed many years ago, but over the past 10 years, Russia refused to deliver the S-300 missile system because of Israeli pressure and American pressure. But today, they announced that they were going to actually deliver the system to the Iranians, and it has angered politicians both in Washington and also in Jerusalem. I've also seen some explanations on a more cynical side, and that is that Putin and Russia maybe are trying to sort of derail the nuclear talks by creating yet another obstacle, saying, look, this is the outcome of the Lausanne agreement. This is the outcome of lifting Iran's sanctions. And that would put pressure here on President Obama and his allies trying to get this deal through with Iran.
And yet, I understand that President Putin, or certainly Moscow, did have a conversation with Israel to say that this deal would be going through, and yet Israel openly expressing their concern.
Yes, apparently the Russian Federation gave a heads up to the Israelis that the Iranians were going to receive these S-300 missiles. Now, let's be clear. The S-300 air defense missile system is not an impenetrable completely unbreakable system. No, the U.S. Air Force is far more superior to be able to actually still penetrate any airspace, even defended by S-300 or S-400 missile series. But it does elevate the risk and the danger to our pilots significantly. It's no longer old Iranian defense systems, but it's a pretty complicated, sophisticated Russian system that can engage multiple targets at the same time. Now, is it possible that when the Russians gave a sort of a notice to the Israelis, they also tried to alleviate their concerns by telling them how to dismantle or how to evade these S-300 missiles? That's something for us we'll probably not find out, but it's interesting that Russia announced this today in the midst of historic nuclear talks, and B, they told the Israelis beforehand, and Israel protested.
And just off the back of this as well, Arash, there were the talks going on in Berlin over the crisis in Ukraine. Any connection there between timings?
Definitely. I mean, the Russians have a limited sort of arsenal in terms of what they can use to pressure the West and pressure the U.S. and the U.S.'s allies. One is energy. One is cutting, oil and gas supplies to the West. They're already under tremendous sanctions, so that is really hurting them. The Russian ruble has dropped significantly. The Russian economy is hurting. Now, by going ahead and arming even in defensive capabilities, but by arming states that are deemed to be problematic for the West, Russia is yet increasing its pressure on the West, saying, look, you sanction us, you don't deal with us in Ukraine, we have our set of tools to create problems for you in places like Iran, in the Mideast, by supplying the Assad regime in Assad, and also in other parts of the world. Let's not be surprised in the next few weeks if we see more Russian involvement in places like Venezuela, Cuba, Bolivia, and elsewhere.
Arash Amaresh there in Los Angeles. Thank you very much for your time.